start, then thank you very much, all of you, for joining us here today in this first meeting of the road of online side events, the virtual road leading up to our 15th session of UN-GGIM. So you all know, I hope, that our 15th session will be held in New York from the 4th till the 8th of August at the United Nations headquarters. And if you intend to participate, we remind you to follow the right procedure with the permanent mission so that you are well accredited and that the UN knows that you are officially representing your country. Today, we will not talk about all of that. We will organize a specific session on how to go through all these procedures. But today, we will present one of the key documents for our meeting, which is this draft strategic framework. The idea is that this framework will guide the program of work of the Committee of Experts, and we will present the considerations that went into the preparing of this document. It should help to guide the committee's work, to prepare and propel our work into the next agenda, where we believe geospatial must be a critical component for accelerating progress, sustainable development, security for all. We really look forward to hearing from you today, to hear your thoughts, and to further also through the survey that is sent to collect feedback from you on the priorities, benefits, and overall activities that will be crucial in guiding our work and which will allow us to remain agile to respond to the global context because it changes over time. The survey link and the QR code, if they are not yet on the display, they will be soon, and we look forward to your responses. As you will probably be well aware, in the next 5 years, we will be considering what the future development agendas will look like, within mind the recently adopted guidance from the Pact for the Future, the Global Digital Compact, and the Antigua and Barbuda agenda for SIDS. So this strategic framework is critical to set out the overarching orientations and direction for the Committee of Experts during this pivotal period. And I would now like to invite Stefan to give some reflections as well.
No, thank you, Ingrid and Deirdre. Always wonderful to see you, our great leaders, co-chairs of the GGIM Global Community. I'm Stefan, the Director of the Statistics Division in the GGIM Secretariat in New York. Always happy to be connected. I see we are well over 70 people. And a meeting for me, like the one that is coming in August, is not only a meeting with an agenda, it's always a celebration of our community. Because we are connecting globally, and we are a professional community, and we're all facing challenges, and the fundamental idea is that together we can do it better. So this is the first step today, that we are connecting and preparing for our August meeting, but we are raising our eyes much higher and looking to the 2030 horizon. As Ingrid said, this is an important period for the United Nations as we are preparing for what announces and promises to be a new development agenda after 2030. And we do certainly want to be ready for that as a geospatial information community and information community statistics in general, and have the right information support for monitoring and decision making for the future ready. The United Nations does two things when we come together like that. We agree on global norms and standards. So as I always say, we write our global language, and we have done this with the definition of our IGIF, our Integrated Geospatial Information Framework. But now comes the really hard work, and that's the second thing that we do as a United Nations. We implement it and help each other and help in particular the developing countries so that they can actually have the information that they need at the national level and also to connect to contribute to the global level. So this is a great event today, opening of the 2025 season, and I'm very grateful to everybody who helped to put it together. And looking at this important document of the strategic framework until 2030, and I thank our leaders, Ingrid and Deirdre, and I thank all of you for connecting. So I think it goes to Deirdre now.
Great. Thank you,
Hi.
Stefan. Hi, good morning. Greetings, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to be with you today to discuss the future direction of the UN-GGIM Committee of Experts. My name is Deirdre Delpiaz Bishop. I lead the Geography Division at the United States Census Bureau, and I'm very honored to serve as one of the co-chairs of our UN-GGIM Committee of Experts. The initial proposal for the Strategic Framework 2025 to 2030 was developed on the sidelines of the 14th session of the Committee of Experts last August 2024. Since then, there have been several rounds of consultation to help refine and adjust the priorities as presented to you in this current draft. In late March of 2025, selected experts from each region contributed to a first round of review of the strategic framework. In April, the revised framework was sent for another round of consultations through our regional committees. The proposed strategic framework is now going to its last round of review through this global consultation. The Strategic Framework 2025 to 2030 will be presented today by the UN-GGIM Secretariat in detail. And then the Bureau and the Secretariat will present it as an annex to the Enhancing Global Information Management Arrangements report at the 15th session of the UN-GGIM Committee of Experts on August 6, 2025, for discussion and endorsement by the committee. We will now provide you with an overview of the strategic framework, with particular emphasis on the elements that are the main subject of the consultation. Given the strategic framework was already the subject of several rounds of consultation, the survey that Ingrid mentioned is specifically targeting a few topics. First, national drivers, to understand if the framework reflects your government priorities. Second, geospatial priorities, to ensure the priorities set out are providing the right focus for the Committee of Experts to respond to the national drivers. Third, benefits, to consider if the strategic framework is reflecting all benefits that can be achieved by using geospatial information management. And finally, priority activities, to confirm the key priority activities reflect the working activities that the Committee of Experts should consider for the next 5 years. Without further ado, let's now dive into the overview of the proposed Strategic Framework 2025 through 2030. For this part of the presentation, I would like to introduce Guillaume Lesueur of the UN-GGIM Secretariat. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Director, for the introduction. So I will now share the presentation for the strategic framework. And just bear with me 1 second as I put it on. So as mentioned by the co-chair, this strategic framework has been already developed since the 14th session of GGIM, and there was several rounds of consultation, and now we're turning to the last part of the strategic framework and consultation, and there will be here, you can see here the QR code for responding to the survey on the strategic framework. It will be also posted on the chat shortly. So the strategic framework has been organized in four main components, which one is the geospatial ambition focus. Second part is on global and national drivers and priorities. Third part is on principle and benefits, and the last part is on deliverable and specific activities. This four pieces, as you can see, we will go into detail about each of the components, and this document has been shared and is also linked to the survey that you have that we've just put online, and we look forward to the comments from everyone, particularly member states, on the strategic framework. The four components are very interconnected, and we will dive into how and how we have structured the strategic framework and how those pieces are interconnected and how they bleed into each other. So we will start with the geospatial ambition and focus. The geospatial ambition and focus details the vision, the mission, and the strategic goals and objectives for the program of work of the Committee of Experts. The vision is positioning geospatial information to address local and global challenges. The mission is ensure geospatial leadership, resources, and capabilities are coordinated, integrated, sustainable, accessible, and usable by member states to address national priorities, sustainable development, and post-2030 and future development agendas, leaving no one behind. As mentioned by Ingrid and Deirdre, indeed the strategic framework aims to propel the program of work of the Committee of Experts into what is the current and also next agenda. The strategic goals and objectives are sort of summarized here with global leadership, partnership and collaboration, digital divide and access, data use and integration, UN mandates and agendas, and supporting and strengthening the UN-GGIM architecture. So the document details a little bit into more wording, what those strategic objectives are, and we look forward to the comments on the overall strategic framework. Moving on to the global and national drivers and priorities. So this is I guess the overarching policy and global agendas that this framework is sitting on, and sort of guides also the overall direction of the work of the program of work of the Committee of Experts. Of course, the overarching Transforming Our World 2030 agenda is key to this, to driving in the direction of the program of work of the Committee of Experts. There is the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction, Paris Agreement on Climate Change, Addis Ababa Action Agenda, the Habitat 3 Urban Agenda, Our Ocean, Our Future, Call for Action, and ABAS, the recently adopted Declaration for Renewed Resilience and Prosperity for SIDS, and also the 2024 Pact for the Future and its accompanying Global Digital Compact. All those framework, of course, are being negotiated and renegotiated, and there will be new frameworks that will be added in the lead up to the new agenda. So those global policy agenda are setting also the direction and orientation for the strategic framework. We now move on to the global to national drivers. This part of the strategic framework details the overarching priorities, highlights also thematic priorities as identified. Those are national priorities, and of course they're not necessarily capturing all of national priorities of the 193 countries of the United Nations, but are meant as a kind of reminder of the importance of some strategic priorities from in countries. So the survey that is shared is also looking into getting your feedback on whether those priorities are adequately capturing the priorities in your national context, as mentioned by Deirdre. So we look forward to hearing through the survey from you if those priorities are indeed correct, if there is some that are missing or that we need to add. Then there's also priorities which are cross-cutting, so it can relate to some of the thematic priorities, but are cross-cutting. So we look forward also to hearing from you if there is some priorities that are missing or that need maybe some amendments into those cross-cutting themes. And then finally, those are the GGIM geospatial priorities. So what globally our community is doing for supporting countries and setting priorities, norms, and orientations to make sure that we address the global agendas. As you can see, the strategic goals and objectives are linked to the geospatial priorities globally, and again, to guide the program of work of UN-GGIM, those strategic goals and objectives are indeed tied to the geospatial priorities. Moving on from the global ambition and focus and the global and national drivers and priorities that we've just seen, we're moving on now to principles and benefits, and then also deliverable and activities of the strategic framework. In the principle and benefits, we have first the operating principles that the committee is working under: global thought leadership, strategic engagement, communication across sectors, digital transformation and safeguarding, guidance and good governance, empower data-driven decision-making, diversity, equity and inclusion, accessibility, interoperability and transparency, collaboration, collaborative multi-stakeholder partnership, capacity development, and knowledge sharing. Those then turn into direct national benefits and efficiencies, and the survey is also looking to seek your feedback on whether those national benefits and efficiencies are indeed capturing what geospatial information can bring in your national context. So we have societal value, bridging the geospatial digital divide, authoritative and reliable data, enhanced return on investment, stronger evidence-based policies, efficient and accountable governments, empowered workforce and innovation, improved stakeholder engagement, integrated knowledge sharing, and strengthened regional and cross-border cooperations. All those are benefits that geospatial information can bring to respective member states and organizations. So we look forward to receiving your feedback on whether this captures all the benefits that geospatial information management is bringing to the table. Moving on now on to deliverables and activities. So this is the different work activities of the program of work of UN-GGIM, and you will recognize here some of the agenda items that the committee of experts is handling. And so we have here leadership, of course, front and center, and then strengthening the role of geospatial information towards the sustainable development goals and other global agendas. As you see, it connects to this piece, also connects to the previously mentioned global agendas, the coordination, coherence, financing, and capacities of global to local geospatial information management arrangements, the governance and guidance that is one of the priority that we mentioned of the committee, and then again some of the agenda items on the committee of expertise is managing, including the UN Integrated Geospatial Information Framework, geodesy, future geospatial information ecosystem, the land information management, etc., etc. So all those then represent all the working activities of the committee of experts, and we look forward again to hear from you on whether those are capturing holistically what the committee of experts is handling in terms of working activities and agenda items. As you can see, the operating principles are tightly connected to the working activities. So again, the framework has interconnected elements from one to another, and those are tightly connected from operating principles to national benefits to working activities, and they also fit in the overarching agendas that we mentioned previously. Again, this is the overview of the strategic framework as it was designed, and each of those elements are interconnected. So To conclude, we look forward to everybody's input on this strategic framework, confirming that we have designed this appropriately. Again, as mentioned by Deirdre, this is the now third round of consultation that we're undertaking on the strategic framework. So hopefully this has been already quite matured and reflects what you in your region or in your country have provided as comments to the Secretariat and during the different consultation process. So I will now stop the presentation and then turn back to you co-chairs for moderating or supporting the interaction with participants. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Guillaume, for presenting. And I think Deirdre will now lead us through the questions that you might have.
Great. Thank you, Ingrid and Guillaume. Thank you for the presentation of the strategic framework, which will be used to guide the work of the UN-GGIM Committee of Experts over the next 5 years, 2025 to 2030, recognizing that as time progresses, things may change, but we've done our best to document the priorities that exist today and where we believe the greatest needs will arise as we look to the future. With that, I'd like to open the floor for any questions. Happy to entertain thoughts that you may have, questions, comments. The floor is open. Guillaume.
As people are maybe formulating their question or thinking about this, I can maybe just share the web page and the different form. So I will just share here. If you've made it so far to the webinar, this is where you've been registering, and there is here the online survey link. And then through the online survey link, you have the access to the strategic framework itself, so the document that you can print and review and see the different components. And then in the survey is detailing the different components that we just reviewed and some of the consideration that you may want to add into the framework and provide this as comments. So here are the different components that we are seeking feedback on. Are the benefits contained in the strategic framework reflecting the benefits that can be achieved? So we look forward to the comments on the strategic framework through the survey, or if you have any question here today. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Guillaume. Please take note, the survey is very straightforward. There are only 12 questions focused on a few key topics associated with the framework. I don't see any questions, any raised hands. Oh, yes, I do. Holly Howard, please, you have the floor. Let's see, Holly, we do not hear you, so perhaps check to see if your microphone is on mute.
I think I had the same problem that Guillaume somehow has to allow her to speak.
Apologies for that.
Now it's allowed.
There we go.
There we
thank
go.
you. Thanks, Ingrid.
Okay, hi. I was like, I think that hi everyone. Thanks so much. This is it's great to read through. There's so much investment in this, and I really appreciate it. So I'm Holly Howard from Google. And I guess my question from the private sector would be, what type of support can the private sector give here? What's the best way for us to support the framework? And do you have a role for the private sector here? I know it's, the UN-GGIM is focused around the member states, but yeah, let me know. So that's kind of what my question is framed around. Thank you.
Great. That's a great question, Holly. I'm happy to start and answer, and then colleagues Stefan and Ingrid, Guillaume, please chime in as you feel fit, as you see fit. Holly, as we developed the strategic framework, we took the needs of the member states, the thematic networks, including the private sector network, the academic network, into consideration. And from my perspective, I would ask, as a member of the private sector, you continue to engage through that private sector network the way that you have been in the past, and continue to provide feedback relevant to strengthening the work of our committee of experts. Ingrid, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think if we look at the work of the Committee of Experts, I think Deirdre gave the perfect answer. I think there is a lot more the private sector can do once we are really rolling out the IGIF and the country level action plans, because these countries, many countries, need the private sector to be able to really do what we find in these country level action plans. And I think there we've had some very good support of a private sector to help on helping some countries to get to the point of having a country level action plan. I think that's certainly a field where private sector support to continue doing this would be very welcome. But it's maybe out of scope for this document, but it's certainly something to take on further. Thank you.
Okay, and that's probably through the private sector network that we would be able to engage.
Yeah.
There.
Well, I think it's something we should look within the private sector network, have an open conversation about it, because we've had the Data Alliance, which has been helping us, but it was a initiative from certain part of private sector and not really an open invitation to all private sectors. So I think that's something we have to look into, because I'm sure that there are more initiatives where private sector is really willing to support these kind of activities.
Great, thank you. Keep us in mind.
Great. We will, Holly. Thank you for your question.
I can just, Madam Chair, there's a question in the chat, and I invite everybody to pose their question. I can unmute your microphone if you have a question. But there is a question from Bruce McCormack mentioning how has AI been factored into the framework? It is likely to be transformational in the geospatial sector. So if you want to respond to that.
Yes, thank you for the question. You'll note that a number of the global to national drivers, geospatial priorities, the operating principles, they talk about digital transformation. As we look to the future, AI will be integral as part of that conversation. And I believe it will be the responsibility of the Committee of Experts to bring AI into the conversation further as we work toward the deliverables listed within the strategic framework. That's not something that has been overlooked. AI, machine learning, the digital ecosystem has been a large part of this conversation as the strategic framework was developed.
Yeah, absolutely. There's the mention several places, the emerging technologies in the ecosystem, and in the context of the policy and legal framework also, there is the mention about the emerging technologies. There is another question from Michael Lillier on the survey, and the vision, mission, strategic goals and objectives does not seem to be part of the consultation and questionnaire. Should the understanding be that these are fixed? If you want to respond to that, or I can help also to respond to that.
So I think Deirdre responded partly, but I think Guillaume, you can give the full answer.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of the survey, it is a challenge to do editing on a document through a survey. So certainly, Michael, as member state, you have most interest in this, having this pinned down correctly. And as mentioned by Deirdre, there was a couple of rounds of consultation already through the different regions and so on. Certainly, if you do have comment about the vision, mission, and strategic goals, please provide this as an email to the Secretariat so that we can consider that in the round of consultation. But through the survey, we were trying to focus on specific aspects of the strategic framework. So hopefully that answered that.
So I think on that point, any comment on the is welcomed. And what we aim is that we get these comments now so that we can see how to take them into account, so that we can bring a document to the General Assembly where we don't have to edit while running the General Assembly important parts of the document. We would really like to have a document that has addressed all your concerns, your remarks, your suggestions for making it better, so that we can go through the document for a last time, but most importantly, approve the document at the meeting in August. So yes, any comment on the whole is welcome, and we will provide an updated version of the document before the session in August.
Thank you, Ingrid. I'd like to address some of the questions in the chat. Notably, the deadline to submit the survey is June 23rd. However, I'd like to ask that you respond as soon as possible. We have a lot of preparation to do as we plan for the 15th session, and the sooner we get information through the door, the better. So please maybe take a few minutes when we conclude here today to review the framework once again, gather your thoughts, and then respond to the survey as soon as possible. Additionally, there was a question from Natalie related to, I believe, one of the deliverables. Determine and provide geospatial information methods, tools, and services for climate, environment, and resilience. Natalie asks, what about the other domains that might be of high interest for achieving the SDGs, such as health and mobility? And yes, Natalie, I agree. It was difficult to make everything fit within the deliverable section. However, if you'll look above to global to national drivers, you'll see that both mobility and health are included in that section. So really the goal is, how do we use geospatial information to help satisfy the needs of the SDGs? If that is not clear enough, please make that comment when you respond to the survey.
Okay, I see the comment of Lokonis Panagiotis about the other geographical level between national and global levels to organize priorities. This is how we work within UN-GGIM. Each of the regions, the regional activities of UN-GGIM can have different priorities and work in a different way to achieve the global goals that we set in this document. So this is already the case today. And if it's not, let's say, yet implemented at the same level of engagement in every region, we certainly encourage regions, or we encourage member states to push their region to do so. But it's, as you say, there's a different setting of priorities. There's also different capacity available to work on all these subjects. And there's also, different, let's say, context and political interest. So we do encourage the regional sections of UN-GGIM to do this coordination and to help to bring to the global agenda the things that are important for their region. And also to help the region to do to make progress on the achievement of the SDGs through the use of better geospatial information by talking about the IGIF and all the work we do, and by helping each other to implement all these policies that we develop.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Ingrid. Earlier, we mentioned that this is the first webinar on the road to the 15th session as we prepare for August of 2025 to be together at the UN in New York. If memory serves me, Guillaume, there's going to be another webinar focused on interregional collaboration, correct? In preparation for the 15th session?
Yes, absolutely. There is going to be actually a series of three interregional dialogue, as we call them. That is going to be on the United Nations Integrated Geospatial Framework. That will be held next week. There will be one on the the Global Statistical and Geospatial Framework, and then a third one which will be on geospatial artificial intelligence, or GeoAI. That will be in the beginning of July. All those side events, I will post it in the chat, and all those side events are being prepared as we speak, and are being advertised on the side event page of the GGIM website. So I will put it in the chat. There's another question from Bruce on the chat if you want to address it. Thank you.
Okay, Bruce. So Bruce's question is based on his experience getting the highest level government genuinely knowledgeable about geospatial is critical. This is certainly important. It's also one of the keystones of the IGIF, and the whole work we do is trying to get countries to embrace IGIF, build country level action plans, and that only works if you have this buy-in. So the whole structure of our work in UN-GGIM is built on that. So it is, let's say, it's factored into our framework. That said, it doesn't mean you achieve that very easily. So it is an important point for every member state. But what we see is that by doing this with the UN hat on it, and by deciding on all these frameworks at the UN level, it is a much more effective when you talk to your government about this is a UN framework which we could use to enhance our own country approach. And we see that that makes a very big difference. So I think that's one of the key points that I have learned from working within the UN context, that you get a very much more visibility within your foreign department, with your minister of development or whatever his hat is, and with your government as a whole, when you have this UN label attached to the work we do. And so I think that's very important, as you rightly said.
Thank you, Ingrid and Bruce. If you have not taken a look at the Integrated Geospatial Information Framework website associated with UN-GGIM, I would encourage you to do so. And we do have 3 specific working groups to help strategically guide the IGIF, focused on communications, capacity development, and sustainable funding, all of which are working to also help inform higher level officials and obtain buy-in. So if you'd like to learn more, please feel free to reach out to either myself or Guillaume, and we can share more details.
Okay, then there's another question from Lolonis Panagiotis. What kind of agencies do you think should be the main drivers for promoting the strategic framework at country level? Any suggestions of the means and approaches that they may use to promote it? Well, that's also part of the IGIF approach, where we do not only talk about which data and which infrastructure, but also about funding, about communication, education, and so on. And we see that it's not easy to put a label on which is the best agency, because the context can be very different within the different parts of the world. And we see that in many countries, the mapping agency is one of the key players, but it's not always in a sufficiently high politically effective position within government to achieve this on its own. And if you go through the IGIF, you will see that there are recommendations or suggestions that creating something like a national council for geospatial information or something like that is a recommendation which can help to achieve this high-level political visibility.
Thank you, Ingrid. I see Clinton has his hand
There's
up.
a question.
Clinton, greetings.
Yeah.
You have the floor, Clinton.
Yeah, but Guillaume has to give him right to speak.
Thank you.
So I did, and just to complement what you just mentioned, also in the strategic framework, there was also the idea that the strategic framework is helpful for countries to advocate for geospatial just by moving the boxes of the priorities as they see fit for their national context. So maybe to provide, if you are with the politicians, you can bring the transformation, the 2030 agenda above the geospatial priorities and sort of customize this strategic framework. So that was also considered in the design. And I did grant the permission for Clinton to intervene on his microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Excellent. Good afternoon, everyone. Clinton Hyman here. Just for those that don't know me, I'm from South Africa, but more importantly, the regional chair for the Africa region. And I just want to firstly thank the Secretariat and the co-chairs for the good report. We appreciate that our inputs have been, as the Africa region, incorporated into the report as far as we can see. And we will circulate the report then to the other members and also the questionnaire, so that everybody can have this transparency and get consensus, so that by the time that we get to the 15th session, we have that consensus from the floor of the member states. I think the topic that I just wanted to add is that this whole item on bringing the IGIF to the highest level in every country, it's very, very important, and it can't be underplayed in any way. We in the Africa region have undertaken to move as a body towards getting the geospatial community in at the highest level of the African Union, so that within those fora that exist, we can actually start promoting the work of the UN. And it is rightfully so that if your agency that runs or manages the large majority of your geospatial information doesn't have access to the highest level, it is problematic. I think in South Africa's case, I can now speak on behalf of the country, we're fortunate that over the last 3 years, we've been able to access our leadership quite frequently, and we've also had the leadership attend the Mexico event that was held. And based on that, the leadership has taken up the role of championing geospatial in South Africa to such a degree that it is frequently spoken about in many of his speeches, the budget speech that will be done in June. So it starts asking the question, what is this geospatial thing and what is the value? We're fortunate though, and I think it's been a big win for the country. Our cabinet approved in February that we will now be able to build a national spatial data observatory for the country, which will be based on obviously the principles, the geospatial principles, but on our SDI and our South African spatial data infrastructure as the key leading legislation for this. So I think just to add to what Ingrid and Deirdre had to say is that this work is very, very important, but the UN badge that it carries with it does also promote the work, and it makes it much easier to access higher levels of government. So thank you very much to the team, and I look forward to answering the questionnaire. Thank you.
Thank you, Clinton, for sharing those important remarks with us. Congratulations on all of your successes, both with UN-GGIM Africa Regional Committee and in South Africa. You've been very successful in communicating the message and obtaining the buy-in of the highest levels, and really should be looked at as a role model for others as they try to secure that buy-in. Thank you. Other questions? Let's see.
There
Let's
is
check
maybe
the
one question. We can maybe take on that last question and then bring it to a close. Thank you. The chat.
Okay, the question is, what makes an output from a geospatially integrated data an official statistics? Or should such outputs remain outside the domain of the SNA? I'll assume that's the statistical community, and census term official. Clear SNA and census definitions on this issue are due in this framework. Guillaume, I'll start by suggesting that perhaps the, Sohail reflect on the GSGF as a starting point, the Global Statistical Geospatial Framework, and then talk to others within the statistical community. I'm happy to help offline for further conversation. Anything that my colleagues here would like to add to that?
No, I think if I can just maybe compliment, I think you're absolutely right, Deirdre. It is not possible to go into the specific details and activities. Certainly, there is in the strategic framework the point about the integration of geospatial and statistics, and I think there is the expert group on the integration and geospatial and statistic integration is the right place for having a more detailed conversation on those things. So certainly, Suel, we look forward to your contribution there. Thank you.
Great. Let's see. Guillaume, one more. Thank you for the great introduction to the series of workshops for the successful preparation for the 15th UN-GGIM meeting. You specified under driver and priority section, the Pact for the Future, yes, and the Global Digital Compact. Would it make sense to include the declaration on future generations there as well, given that it talks about recognizing children and youth, and knowing the issue about declining number of professionals in the geo field? That's definitely a strong recommendation, and we'll consider that as we finalize the strategic framework. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And just a quick comment, the Pact of the Future is like 3 pieces in one. And we just mentioned specifically the Global Digital Compact because there's multiple issues that relate to digital infrastructure, digital services, public goods, and so on. But of course, those are the 3 pieces that are part of the Pact of the Future. But that's a good point. It's more about the length of things we're trying to compact it. Thank you. Thank you for the comments.
Thank you. All right. Well, seeing no further questions, either through the raised hand function or the chat, I'd like to conclude the question and answer period of this consultation webinar. I would like to request that everyone take some time to carefully review the framework once again, even if you've contributed as an expert during the first round of consultation or through the request made by your regional committee. Please take one final look at this important overarching document and provide your feedback as soon as possible, but no later than June 23rd of 2025. I'll now turn back to, let's see, Ingrid, do you have any closing remarks you would like to offer for the group, please?
Thank you, Deirdre. I just want to thank all these people that have made time in their agenda, whatever time of the day it is where you are, to listen to this, to listen to this seminar, to listen to the explanation we wanted to give, and to give your support and comments. Thank you very much. We look forward to meeting all of you or many of you in New York in the summer. And as said, please give us your feedback because the document will only get stronger with all your input to make this a shared document. I want to say thank you to the people who helped the Secretariat to draft this document. they did so with a lot of energy and without being cited as authors. And I'm really happy for their support, and we are very grateful for all the support, because as many of you know, the resources at the Secretariat are quite restricted. So thank you all people contributed, who have contributed and who still will, to get this document to a great document to sign, or not to sign, to approve at our New York meeting. The greatest document ever.
Thank you, Ingrid. Thank you to Stefan and to Guillaume for your leadership of the Secretariat. Do you have any closing remarks before we say goodbye today?
Well, if I may just jump in, I was really happy. It was a classical moment of the GGIM global community. Lots of interactions, a lot of questions. When you organize an event like that and you make a short presentation, I always say leave enough time for questions and answers, but then you always have a moment of anxiety whether there are going to be any questions. And we shown today that there are many questions and contributions and reflections and interesting points on the role of the private sector, AI, and the importance of political support. So it was I really want to thank all of the people who actively participated and make this a great hour. I think an event, this framework is a framework. I mean, nobody should be scared. Not everybody has to do everything in this framework. I see it as having fundamentally two purposes. To the outside community, it's going to be our business card. So if you want to show some people what we are all about and what we are working on, this is a very succinct way of doing it. And to the inside, it shows where everybody, because there's so many groups and people working on specific things of our geospatial agenda and challenges. So this framework helps to see everybody where they fit with their activities. And every activity is important. And I think this is why this is such an important document. So again, I also encourage everybody, if you have any thoughts, if you feel that anything is missing or should be even emphasized more, or there is a particular aspect from where you are coming from, especially if you are a developing country, share it with us so that this can be, as Ingrid said, the strongest document possible. So thank you to everybody for this participation.
Yeah. I would
Thank you, Stefan.
I would like to add another thank you. I want to thank Stefan, because probably for many of the people in this meeting, it will be the last time they see Stefan in their official role, in his official role. So thank you, Stefan, for the many years of guidance and leadership. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of the whole community by saying thank you for having put so much energy into this bunch of geospatial people that can draw wonderful maps and can draw wonderful road maps. But sometimes we need people like you to get the work done. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Stefan. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, for your contributions to date and your continued support of the UN-GGIM community. We look forward to seeing you on the road to the 15th session through the various webinars, and then hopefully to see you in New York as well. Take good care. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.